The UK government is giving out thousands of pounds to help you buy a new electric car. With a flood of affordable, high-tech Chinese EVs hitting the market, it seems like the perfect time to grab a bargain. On paper, it's a really simple deal. You get a discount, the UK gets closer to its net zero goals, we get cleaner air, more drivers go electric. Everybody wins. But none of that $3,750 of taxpayer money is designed to subsidise a car from a Chinese brand. Not a penny. There's a huge roadblock that has little to do with the tariffs or trade wars that you see in the headlines. It's buried deep in the fine print of the policy, creating a hidden wall that deliberately steers your money away from some of the most popular and affordable EVs on the market. The reason why is a fascinating story. It's probably not what you're thinking, and is about to be challenged. Will this result in Chinese brands getting the ECG? This is Dave Takes It On. I'm Dave. Well, let's start with a big attractive headline. The government has relaunched the Electric Car Grant, ECG, offering a two-tier subsidy to speed up the switch to electric. For the absolute greenest cars, you can get a massive £3,750 discount automatically applied at the dealership. No need to apply. For other qualifying EVs, there's still a very helpful £1,500 discount. Now, the rules seem pretty simple. The car must be fully electric, have a range of at least 100 miles, cost less than £37,000. And this grant couldn't have come at a better time. It's all happening against the backdrop of the government's zero-emission vehicle or ZEV mandate. This is the policy that legally requires manufacturers to sell an increasing percentage of electric cars every single year, starting at 22% back in 2024 and shooting up to 80% by 2030. If they miss those specific annual targets, they face colossal fines of anything up to £15,000 for every single petrol or diesel car they sell over the limit. Although timelines have recently been eased something to make it easier to meet those mandated targets. Well, this mandate is forcing car makers to push EVs into the market, whether that's through discounts, marketing, or any other means. So you've got government pressure on one side and a generous grant, well, seemingly on the same side. It seems like the perfect environment for affordable EVs to flourish. And who's leading the charge on affordability? Well, it's Chinese manufacturers, brands like MG, BYD, GWM, Great Wall Motors, and Omada. They're landing in the UK with cars that are packed with tech, have impressive range, and, most importantly, already undercut their European rivals on price without any grants at all. The MG4, for example, has been a runaway success. It's exactly the kind of car a grant like this should be supporting. Later, you'd think this would be a simple equation. British driver want cheaper EVs, Chinese brands are making them, government is offering cash to help you buy one, we get ridiculously cheap EVs, but that's where the simple story ends. Because despite what the headlines suggest, your £3,750 grant is almost guaranteed not to go towards one of these Chinese cars. And it has nothing to do with their quality, their price, or even where they're built directly. The barrier is something far more subtle. It all comes down to two words: science-based targets. What is that, 3 words? Does a hyphen count? Anyway, well, this is the hidden mechanism at the heart of the electric car grant. It's the gatekeeper deciding which manufacturers get access to taxpayer money. The Transport Minister even said she didn't expect any cars assembled in China to be eligible for the grant. She put it bluntly. Frankly, if you generate a lot of the electricity that powers your factory through coal power stations, then you're not going to be able to access this money. Seems she has a bit of a short memory, because even I can remember when coal-fired power stations powered the majority of the national grid. It's not that long ago. Well, this isn't just about making a green car. It's about proving you're a green company. And that's a hurdle that many Chinese auto giants are finding so far nearly impossible to clear. So what is this Science-Based Targets Initiative, or SBTI? They love their initials. Well, think of it like a fair trade sticker, but for a corporations' climate goals. It's an independent body that verifies whether a company's promises to cut emissions are actually aligned with the Paris Agreement goal, the one that America pulled out of limiting global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius. To get SBTi validation, a company can't just make vague promises. They have to commit to specific, audited and aggressive targets like slashing emissions by 42% by 2030 and hitting net zero by 2050, those sorts of targets. Under the UK's electric car grant, having a validated science-based target is the absolute minimum requirement for a manufacturer to get any money. Without it, a brand is immediately disqualified, no matter how cheap or efficient or green its cars are. And here's where the line is drawn. To get the top tier £3,750 grant, a car maker needs full SBTi validation plus a bunch of other green credentials. They have to prove their UK operations will be carbon neutral by 2030. Remember that phrase, UK operations 2030. They need to hold a special certification for environmental management and show their factories run on over 80% renewable energy. And I can tell you there's precious few companies that can prove this, and even fewer who will even achieve it. Having a target on paper or in your company's motto is not a result. Now, for the lower £1,500 grant, the rules are a bit softer, requiring a manufacturer to have at least committed to getting SBTi validation. No date has been set. But here's the sting in the tail. The grant criteria also penalise vehicles made in countries with carbon-intensive energy grid, and China's industrial heartland is still heavily reliant on coal. This means that even if a brand like MG or BYD built a factory powered entirely by solar panels, they would still likely be ineligible because they're located in a country that has a grid largely based on coal. But hang on, isn't it a condition that companies have to promise to do better? Can they not claim they are effectively off dirty grid and running their own solar and wind farms? It seems not. They still get tarred with the same brush, even if they go off-grid. Well, the evidence is right there in the list of eligible cars. Popular models like the MG4, nowhere to be found. It's not because the car isn't good, it is. It's because its parent company, SAIC Motor, doesn't have validated science-based targets. Well, the same goes for the smart car 1 and 3. Even though it's a joint venture with Mercedes, the rules say both parent companies, in this case Mercedes and Geely, have to meet the criteria, which at least one doesn't. Now, in response, these brands are fighting back. In the short term, they just use their own money. MG announced its own £1,500 grant for private buyers of the MG4 and the MG5 to stay competitive. Smart, GWM and Leapmotor have launched similar private grants to match, penny for penny, the government's scheme. They're subsidising their own cars because the government, UK government, won't. Well, this reveals more like what's really going on. Is this a clever way to ensure taxpayer money only supports truly sustainable companies, or is it a form of green protectionism that punishes consumers looking for an affordable EV? Let me know your thoughts on that one in the comments. When you step back, the science-based targets requirement looks less like a green checkbox and more like a tool of industrial strategy. This isn't just a bureaucratic hurdle, it's a deliberate move. It allows the UK government to look generous with a public grant while steering that money towards established European, Japanese, possibly American manufacturers who have been working on SBTi compliance for years. Oh, as if China hasn't. It has today the largest installation of solar, wind, hydro and grid-connected battery storage anywhere in the world. They've done a lot. Just look at the companies with validated targets. Ford, Mercedes-Benz, Renault and Volkswagen, they're all on the list. It's no coincidence that cars like the Renault 5 and Ford Puma Gen E are qualifying for the grant, while their direct Chinese competitors are not. This effectively creates a protected market, giving a crucial advantage to legacy automakers who are struggling to compete with the price and the technology of these new Chinese challengers. Is that what the grant was designed to do? Sneaky. Well, that would be protectionism, pure and simple, hidden inside a green policy. The government can publicly champion its high environmental standards, but the practical effect is to shield the European car industry from a full-on market invasion. It uses the very real issue of China's coal-powered grid to justify excluding its most competitive exports from public subsidies. Now, this debate is fierce. On the one hand, supporters say, well, it's vital to protect greenwashing, and it should be. Why should UK taxpayers subsidise a car whose production created enormous amounts of CO2? They shouldn't. They argue the grant rightly rewards companies that made a genuine, verifiable commitment, and they should. But what happens when a BYD car factory makes EVs using only its own green energy, generating by solar panels on the roof, totally separated off-grid from that dirty coal-fired grid? On the other hand, critics, including executives from Chinese brands and the Chinese government itself, argue that this is a punitive trade barrier dressed up in green rhetoric. They say it hurts UK consumers most of all by raising the entry price for EVs and slowing down adoption, all while protecting less competitive incumbents. Now, that is a very telling condemnation. It protects inefficient, virtually bankrupt companies from serious competition. This move, they argue, simply replaces one dependency with another, swapping out Chinese technology for protected and potentially more inefficient and expensive European and even Japanese technology. So while the headlines are all about the EV price war, the real battle is being fought on a completely different front. In the world of carbon accounting, corporate audits and geopolitical strategy. This 3,750 grant isn't just a simple discount for you. It's a powerful lever of industrial policy. It's a tool being used to enforce a specific Western-centric vision for the future of the car industry. A future built on transparent supply chains and climate pledges validated by groups like the SBTi. But has nobody asked how many of those pledges are being backed up by immediate action? And that is where the breakthrough is likely to begin. BYD is installing massive solar panel arrays on the roof and effectively has gone off grid and 100% renewable. Does that qualify their EVs? Seems not. Has Nissan done so? Because the Japanese national grid is still 70% fossil fuel based. Yes, I know the Leaf is made in the UK, and that is exactly the breakthrough. If BYD or Geely or SIC or Leapmotor sets up an EV manufacturing plant in Spain and installs massive solar on the roofs, will their EVs qualify for the full grant, or will they get tarred with the, well, your home country is still using coal-fired power stations? Valid question. The Ford Puma Gen E is made in Romania, which still uses coal-fired power stations. How do they get the full grant of £3,750? So anything about Ford being a massive company, manufacturing in Europe and employing in Europe, and Romania being an EU member state? Just asking. Based on Nissan, BYD and Geely in Spain would have to have all their EVs qualify. Based on pure politics, they will still be refused. Or how about Renault? See, France might have just pulled off a blinder here, because if you count nuclear as renewable, which it isn't by definition, it burns or fissions or uses radioactive fuel, just not fossil fuel, their grid could be classed as 90 to 95% non-fossil. I wonder if they had a representative on the negotiating committee setting these standards. Again, just asking. But for now, that vision is leaving China's auto giants on the outside, looking in, locked out, not by tariffs, but by a wall of green bureaucracy they can't yet climb. But this is not going to last very much longer. In 2026, I guarantee that at least one Chinese company operating from a factory inside the EU in a country that has a largely green national grid will apply for the full grant. Spain could be a classic contender. It's committed to an 80% renewable grid by 2030, well ahead of the UK forever. Maybe a Chinese company will set up a factory in dirty Romania and then fight a legal battle if they're still refused. You can bet they're already working on that back in China. But the real question is, what happens when they succeed? See, when a brand like BYD or MG finally gets full validation, the UK government will face a politically explosive choice. Either change the rules again or finally let British taxpayer money subsidise cars made in China. And that is going to please Trump no end. Whatever they decide, the secret of the science-based targets is out, and it's already changed the game. I'm Dave, and thanks very much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, please click the like button. If you'd like to see more, please subscribe so we can notify you when we release videos. Massive big thank you to all of our members, Patreon and YouTube, for their ongoing support. I'm Dave.